injures?
No. We're doing a post-game show. Take two here on Whiskey and Wine, presented by Twin Peaks today. Waiting on Sconey to hop in here. He's in Nashville. I'm at a restaurant. It screams technical difficulties. We got off the air. We got off the ground.
Come on, baby. One time. It's coming, buddy. It's coming. Adding you right now. Ooh. Hello? Got me? Gotcha, bro. Gotcha.
Oh, there we are. Hey-oo.
We're good. We're live.
Hey-oo.
We're live.
Bruh, I'm in a big old empty restaurant, bruh. A restaurant. Oh, restaurant.
I'm in a full restaurant. Yep. I got you, bro.
Me?
I got you. Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, yeah, you're on now over here? Perfect. If I could do an old-fashioned, that'd be awesome. Yes, sir. I closed out with the guy who just went off, and yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Hey. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Howdy.
All right, bro. We ready.
All right. Cheers.
Let's do it. Well, you know, I got this empty glass. We could cheers with an empty glass right now.
I got my Frenchie Royale.
Hey, you're so bougie. Cheers,
buddy.
Cheers.
Learn about it at poorchoices.life. All right, man. Are you leaving Nashville on crutches? It seems like everybody's hurt that's leaving Nashville. Are you okay? How's your health?
Hey, can I break a little news for you as well? What you probably don't know is that Michael Cobble of WBRZ Television turned an ankle pregame. Brent Bankston put him in a walking boot and sent him back to the hotel. And flying out at some point this evening, but Michael Cobble quite possibly a broken ankle. So the turf there at Vandy back in '97
broke his ankle during pregame.
Possibly, it's possibly broken. We need an X-ray to confirm, but severe injury for Cobbs.
Bro.
Indeed.
What's
All right,
the
I'm
deal?
sharing this out here.
What's going on in Nashville?
Bad.
Yeah.
Cecil Collins back in
'97. I remember it.
Now we go back to Joe Burrow. We go to Justin Jefferson. Braden Oko went down. Of course, Mike Divinity. I didn't see Marshall.
He came up limping.
I didn't see that.
Third quarter. I mean, I'm getting reports he's leaving the locker room in crutches.
Oh, Lord. Well, anyway. All right, let's get into it. Everybody, if you're watching, do us a solid. You know the drill. Hit the share. That's like a prerequisite here. Got to hit the share button. And don't be a square. If you don't like it, share. It's immortal. The sign is immortal. What are you going to do when that sign ultimately withers
Never
up
will,
and goes, goes away the dinosaur? Yeah,
Cockroach analogy,
point, right? I mean, it's some like cockroaches, algae, and the don't be a square sign. All right, you want to start? Or you want me to start?
I guess I'll start. The defense again, minus a couple of key personnel, you're still looking at the same issues, man. They got some problems, and then today you leave Nashville without a guy like Divinity, who looks like he, out of all of them, just kind of outside looking in, may look like he got it the worst. Defensively, they're going to have to take this week, and they're going to have to regroup. It's just some playmakers that you thought you had have not stepped up, and their lack of depth on the defensive line has really kind of hurt him. And then, I mean, like we talked about with Caleb on in there a couple of weeks back in Austin, I mean, he's really the only guy that can provide you any pass rush. Divinity may have been the other guy, and he's hurt. So defensively is just very concerning.
Are you more encouraged by 66 or discouraged by 38? And I'll grant you 2 of their scores were defensive scores. So really LSU's defense gave up 24.
I'm not as encouraged by the 66 anymore because that's almost in a month become expected. I mean, I hate
LSU put up 600 yards and 66 points, and we're like,
I know.
on the road. You know what I mean? What a time to be alive, bro.
Cheers.
What a time to be alive.
Cheers. Frenchie Royale.
Oh, jeez. It's
I mean,
true,
you
though,
just
man.
gotta come to expect it.
But you know what's happening? But here's what's happening with LSU. All right. I think everyone looks at this team now collectively and goes, shit, man, like they're on to something. Like they could win them all. And so then you start to look at like the nuance of, hey, all right, thank you so much, man. All right. You start to look at the nuance. Okay, what's the thing? All right, got me a new one. Hey, the Otter would be happy. Hey, but let me tell you something else, by the way. If you happen to be in Nashville and you stay at the Airport Marriott, they got a sports bar here called Champions Grill or something. They make one of the best old fashions I've ever had in my life. Honest to goodness, one of the best I've ever had in my life.
Aaron loves old fashions.
Let the Otter know.
Aaron loves old fashions.
What's that?
Said it's the best old fashioned he's ever had in his life in a Nashville
I'll have to make her one.
Airport bar.
It's
hotel airport.
Well, it's not in the airport. It's at the Marriott, Nashville Airport Marriott. There's a restaurant here called Champions, and they make an awesome old fashioned. It's Knob Creek old fashioned. It is fantastic. So anyway, I think what's happened here is we're collectively looking at LSU and going, all right, they got a chance to win them all. So now you start to look at the nuance. Okay, what's the little thing that could keep them from winning them all, right? So as opposed to when you go into a season, you expect a team to go like last year, right? Vegas had them at 7-5. Well, nobody paid attention that Burrow didn't throw a touchdown pass for the entire month of October because people were just psyched out of their fucking mind that LSU beat Auburn on a walk-off and had a kicker that could make kicks. Yeah. And you know what I mean? It was like you ignored whatever deficiencies might have been there that were ultimately going to get you shut out at home by Alabama, which happened. But everyone was jacked because what the expectations were. I think everybody looks at this team now and they go, you can win them all. Like, you can win them all. So what's the thing that's going to prevent potentially LSU from winning them all that they got to fix? I'll tell you what, I don't like Joe Burrow taking hits in the chops. I don't like Miles Brennan taking a hit in the chops that causes a pick six. And that's on the offensive line, but I think part of that gets solved this week when Ed Ingram comes back.
Can he play right tackle?
I think that's a no, but I'm okay giving help there. Understand that I feel good up the middle. I feel good with my guys, preventing stunts and twists up the middle. Yeah, no.
I mean, ridiculous.
The one Brennan took. Hey, the shot Brennan took came from Sadiq.
Was Sadiq in though? I think Dare Rosenthal was in at that point.
Well, it probably was there, and that explains a lot.
As far as the ones go, I mean, there were 3 reps that I saw just on the TV copy today watching where Deculus didn't touch a soul. He didn't touch a soul, and like I said, man, your first priority, everybody's first priority to get on the field for LSU offensively. Your first priority is protecting number 9. You got to protect the franchise. You got to protect the program, and the shots that he took today. I mean, he took a shot. He took a couple of shots standing in and delivering a couple of passes. I mean that some that they didn't even show. I mean, he got hit today, and
bro, it was the first drive of the second quarter. He hit Racey McMath for a first down play. He made a play to Stephon Sullivan. Burrow did. It was a 28-yard completion where he basically was a Tetris piece, up, over, upside, and then threw a 28. I mean, it was beautiful. It was so. And then the next play is when he got sacked and hurt his ankle. And I texted Gordy in the second half. He said Burrow was still limping around the sideline in the second half. So he played. I'm telling you, man, I would have.
Look at Auburn.
Ooh, Auburn's a 14, bro.
Look at Auburn.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Well, I've been. Point is, man, I think they would have loved to have gotten Joe out of that game sooner. But the fact is, when you had that, we talked about a little bit at halftime. When you had that fumble touchdown at the end of, think of it this way, Jay. I mean, it's 38-10. You got the ball with a minute plus before half. You go down and score. It's 45-10, and
No
Burrow
doubt.
ain't playing the second half. Instead, you get the fumble touchdown. It's 38-17. They try an onside kick. How about Mason with the onside kick?
Bro, you got to get creative. You got to get creative. But bounces right into Baskerville's hand.
I mean,
He
Baskerville
looked good
didn't
today.
score, man.
I'm glad to see he had some production today.
Basketball's all. But you know what it shows you, man? It shows you how much depth this team has at linebacker, and it's also an illustration of how much they don't have on the defensive line. Because, man, if at any point you want to sit Phillips or Divinity goes out, okay, well, we've got Damone Clark and Baskerville, and you're just loaded up there, man. You're deep, you're talented. You know, it's just that's wide receiver and linebacker are the two deepest spots on this team right now, and it's fun to watch them, man. They're awesome. I was glad Baskerville had some.
Yeah, and it was good. And look, it was good to see Damone Clark.
Today, man.
His confidence is still growing out there too, man, because it looks like he's going to have to play more. I was saying last week that I thought that they were going to they were getting to this theory where they're going to play their best 11 by shifting Divinity outside and getting Clark on the field in some capacity, just because, you know, he was good. One thing we didn't mention when we talked about the offensive line, and we hadn't mentioned this at halftime, and we hadn't mentioned it yet, with Adrian McGee killing motherfuckers on that play when Burrow rolled out.
One play.
Flushing cats.
It's about time he made a play, bro. You know, when I play golf with my grandfather, you know what he says? Every time I make a shot, he goes, even a blind squirrel finds a nut. That was Adrian McGee on that play, bro. He was just ready, man, just lying in wait, ready to throw around 320 pounds on some
That
cat.
was a dream scenario for an offensive line. I'll talk about that forever.
All right, you know something else we got to talk about here, man? People, what's been one of the biggest offensive complaints so far through the first 3 weeks before today?
Biggest offensive complaints, not being able to run the ball?
What was it? What did everybody want to say? 181 rush yards today. 181 rushing. 5 yards a carry. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 14 for 106, averaged 7 yards a carry. Emory averaged 5.7 yards a carry. Ty Davis-Price averaged 4.8 yards a carry. They ran the ball today. And at the end of the game, when they needed to run the ball to just run out the clock, they were able to do it. That's something we talked about at halftime, Jay, because we were like, hey, man, with that fumble, like, can they do, like, if they need to line up and run it, can they? At the end of the first half, it looked super awkward. At the end of the game, it looked good. I mean, Emory looked good at the end of the game. Ty Davis-Price looked good at the end.
You can feel the freshmen coming along, man. You can feel them starting to take that step. They're really they're judging it perfectly, in my opinion, to get them ready for conference play. I mean, when Florida gets in here in about a month, a little less than a month, 3 weeks, those freshmen should be getting 8, 9 carries between them per game.
Yeah. All right, everybody watching, y'all do us a solid. Hit the share. If you haven't done it yet, please hit the share. Likes, the little hearts and the thumbs up, all the little emojis, all that helps a ton. So thank you for that. Let me give you my quick observations, and then we can go through the good, the bad from the game, and we get to a lot of people's comments and questions. How about one of the things I thought was cool? Did you notice the Tennessee guys? The kids from Tennessee had big games. I thought Jacob Phillips made damn near I don't know his final tackle total. I felt like Jacob Phillips made damn near every play today. Did you notice that as well? I thought he was.
Bro.
I thought he was
Holy
all.
shit.
I thought 6. What?
Terrace Marshall fractured his foot. Dellinger's reporting 7 minutes ago. One of LSU's top receivers will be out a few weeks with a foot fracture. They got pictures of him. Wilson Alexander's got pictures of him leaving on crutches. Oh, my gosh, man. Oh, my gosh.
Well, all right, I'm looking at it right now. So foot fracture for Marshall, few weeks. What does that? I mean, if he doesn't need surgery,
I don't know. This
how
could be a
long is that?
reoccurring
You know?
injury, though. Remember, he came out of high school. He missed his entire senior season with
Yeah.
a golly. Was it a fibula? Is it fibula your ankle or where's the fibula? Yeah, it was a lower leg injury in high school where he missed his entire senior season.
Yeah.
Last year he came back and he
They hurt his knee last
never
year.
got right from that. And then through the first 3 weeks of the season, he was leading the country in touchdowns with 6. Had a nice game today.
Yeah. So today you had both Marshall and Jefferson hurt. Tell you what, bro. Hey, like saying this, man, they've had some injuries, but again,
Right.
Florida's not next week. You've got next week off, then you've got Utah State, and maybe and I don't know how. Look, I'm not going to speculate. I don't know how serious the Marshall injury could be, but you have an opportunity over the next 2 weeks to get guys right for Florida, that stretch of Florida, Mississippi State, Auburn. But I'll even look at it, man, I'll go, the other maybe underlying positive today because of that, and it's certainly wasn't expected, but it's just something that's happened, is you got Racey McMath involved in a big way today. 5 catches, 48 yards, scored his first touchdown, and for the second consecutive week, you got Stephon Sullivan involved in the offense. 3 catches, 48 yards, long of 30. The one I just mentioned on the 30-yarder where Burrow kind of like upped and zigged and zagged, and it was beautiful. Like, I mean, the point is you got options, and beyond that, I know a guy that you talked about last week was Palmer, and then the other freshman.
Devontae Lee.
Remind me, who am I blanking on? Lee.
Yeah, but Scone, we haven't even talked about Derek Dillon
guys.
Yet. Where is he?
You're right.
Is it still the hip?
I don't know if he's still hurt, man. I mean, I don't know if people know that, man, but he had hip surgery after the bowl game. So he was Derek Dillon was pretty limited all last year because of his hip. He had hip surgery after the bowl game, came back. He flashed early in the season. But I don't know. But, maybe he's still bothered by it. Worth asking. That's a big deal, though, man. Because my contention, my contention with this receiver group is the reason LSU is unstoppable right now is there's a lot of teams that have one really good corner that might be able to take away one of those guys. Some teams may even have 2 corners that could lock down 2. Nobody's got 3 lockdown corners that could take away all 3 of those guys. Well, now Marshall's hurt. And Jefferson was hurt today. By the way, Jefferson, I texted Gordy on the sideline. Jefferson is fine. He stayed dressed. They just weren't going to put him back in the game. So Jefferson's good, but that's one of those guys that probably benefits from the week off. Obviously, you don't need to have him run around. But this would affect it, man, because there's no team in the country that has 3 DBs that could lock down those 3 guys. But if you start to take 1 or 2 of them off the field, now that the math changes a little bit. So I'm good, man. Yeah, thank you so much. Let's see. So Tennessee, I mentioned Phillips. Phillips, I thought had an awesome day.
Jacoby Stevens had an interception.
Got to mention. So Phillips had an awesome day. Stevens had the interception late.
So that's the first.
Who's the other one I'm missing? That was the miss. There's 3 Mr. Tennessees on this team. Who am I missing?
The freshman?
Hampton, that's right. Hampton didn't play. That's right. So, Jamar Chase was awesome. He went over first time a receiver's gone over 200 yards for LSU since Odell against Furman. And had they kept the offense wide open and kept him on the field, he would have broken Josh Reed's record today. He went for 10 for 229 and 4 touchdowns. Josh Reed, of course, 293 against Alabama in 01. And then, you know what else? The other thing we saw today, and I'm looking for defensive statistics. I don't see them yet. We've been wanting to see a pass rush, and we finally saw it today. Like we saw LSU pressure Riley Self and sack him.
I thought Fehoko had his best game.
Fehoko played. We talked about him last week, bro. Like,
Yeah.
hey, 91, where you been? And he played well today. Even late in the game, they went down. I think that was just cramps. He went down with late.
Stingley, we called it at halftime when Stingley
But
with his interception. They kept testing
you did.
him, man.
Good on you.
At some point, and then you
called
knew that
Stingley.
about the interceptions. Remember, that's the first 2 interceptions of the season that they got today. Was Stingley's in the third and Jacoby's in the
It's crazy,
fourth.
isn't it?
And usually those come in bunches. Once you start to grab them, they usually start to come. So I know that LSU would like to see more turnovers, especially in the form of interceptions. Stingley should have a couple, but it was good to see him get his first.
You know what the car is? Did you see it? If you go, sorry, Jay, real quick. Hey, y'all shout out Madison Gilmore.
Yo.
Hey. If you go
Marcus Robinson, that's a great
and
point.
To the right, it's on like
Tyler
that second
Shelvin
row on the right.
Played his ass off today, man. Shelvin was everywhere.
Agreed.
He was held a block on the line
Agreed.
of scrimmage. He was moving down the field, following the ball, making plays down the field. I mean, he was moving around today. He is Shelvin looks great. I mean, really and truly, you can make the argument.
He does. You're right.
That Shelvin's the best player on the defense, or has been up to this point.
He's well, especially with Lawrence and Logan out. He's been the best defensive lineman. I wouldn't say he's been the best defensive player. I think Jacob Phillips. For everyone who asked about Phillips Queen, who was going to win that job, bro, Jacob Phillips has been a monster. Like he will be a 100 tackle guy this year. He will be all SEC. He's going to be the guy once you get into big games when people are not when you're scoring 66 against Vandy and nobody's paying attention after the first quarter. When he's having a double-digit tackle day against Auburn, against Florida on the road at Bama, everyone's going to go, who the fuck is 6? Like he's going to be an all SEC.
What's your thought on Delpit?
He's a monster. I think everybody's expectation for Delpit is so elevated now that we're going to notice his mistakes. But, brother, it ain't just Delpit. It's this entire defense.
Yeah.
Their inability to wrap up and tackle is awful. The last offensive touchdown Vandy got, the Kalijah Lipscomb touchdown, like, good for Kalijah. It's a New Orleans kid, Jesuit. I feel good for him. But, bro, that was a 3rd and 6 play where they threw a ball over the middle, and he broke about 4 tackles and then just housed it from midfield. It's like, What the fuck are y'all doing? Like, can someone wrap up and tackle somebody? Come on, bro. Like, what you do with Henry Ruggs?
Especially those guys, man. Those are usually your most for sure tacklers. I mean, Delpit had the reputation coming into the season almost like a Jamal Adams type. If he got his hands on you, you were going to the ground. You know, I mean, he's got to get that right because I think everything else is a little unfair on Delpit, and I think it is because of the expectation. But he's gotta become a better tackler, and I think when you can make the argument for 70% of the defense on that. I mean, they've got to become a better tackling defense, and I think that a lot of their problems that they have, I mean, not all of them because they got some issues, will start to kind of fix themselves.
How about the stop on 4th and 1 in the first quarter? If we're talking about the game, whenever it's still a game, Vandy went for it on 4th and 1. They had a 3rd and 5. They scrambled, got stopped. 4th and 1 went for it. LSU came up with the stop. It was 21-7 game at that point, and I mean, that was a huge play. I mean, it was at the time it was big. It allowed LSU to get the ball back, score 28-7. So. That 4th down stop was big. How about
Justin Thomas,
who came up?
Yeah.
Justin Thomas came up with first
new faces on the defensive
game.
line. I thought today stood out. Justin Thomas was one of them, and Joseph Evans, the true freshman, I thought gave you really good reps, man.
Yeah, he played well.
He's a guy that just continue to develop there. More bodies, more players, kind of like a Thomas. I mean, a guy that you look up and he's starting to make plays. But you've heard a lot of good things about Justin Thomas over the last couple of weeks and even in the offseason that he's a hard worker. He didn't come in highly recruited, but, I mean, he knows that he's got a chance to play here. So it was good. I mean, they need more depth. I mean, that is a huge concern is them just being able, from a depth standpoint, to withstand. That's got to be a horse collar, huh?
I agree. 1 a.m. The depth thing, dude, that's what they're addressing in this class, right? That's what they had hoped to do last year with Ish Sopsher, with Charles Moore, and who now is leaving Auburn. Who's the other kid that they had to commit to Bama?
Yeah. Byron
Young. Byron Young. So they went on 3 guys and they didn't get any of them. I mean, that was supposed to be their depth. So they missed. Well, now this class, they're compensating for all that. So you hope some of these guys can contribute as freshmen. If they can't, well, then you get them for another year beyond that. But Shelvin was awesome. I'm looking through my notes. The onside kick, the Baskerville,
We talked about the 2 freshmen back.
LSU, dude. LSU in the third quarter went
Yeah.
for it on a 4th and 1. I guess maybe not totally surprised to see it, but considering what they were looking at, but that's ultimately Chase would score his 4th touchdown after that, and that's put LSU up 52-24. It was like Keyshawn Vaughn had the 52-yard touchdown run, so that was the point in the game where like we're going, okay, are they like? Is LSU going to separate and get Joe Burrow out of the game? Well, then it's, onside kick, LSU scores real quick. All right, it's 45-17. You're thinking, all right, get a stop, score, and then pull all the starters. Well, you don't get the stop. Vaughn hits the 52-yard touchdown run. Well, now they get you on a 4th and 1. You go for it. You get the 4th down, and then LSU scored, which made it 52-24. And then after that, Jay, after LSU won a 52-24, that's when they got the block punt touchdown. So then it was 59-24, and that's when it was like, all right, it's completely over-empty the bench, and then they did after that. So and
you could feel it too. I mean, really the play before half really kind of threw things off course with the fumble and the touchdown for Vanderbilt. Because I thought, we could have seen the same type of progression that you've seen with this Georgia Southern and the Northwestern game where Burrow plays the entire first half, comes out and plays the opening drive of the third quarter, get him out of there, get some rest for him, and it just kind of threw the whole feel of the second half off. And then, just get out of there. Get out of Nashville. It's just kind of been a weird place for you. And I hate to see him leave with all these injuries, man.
Hey, but here's the good news. Like, you're right. The good news is you have a week off, then you have Utah State. So realistically, anybody that went down today, it's 3 weeks from today that you play Florida. It's 3 weeks that you have to have those guys ready. So I'm willing to say, all right, let's wait and see. They'll go get X-rays, MRIs, and all those guys. Let's see how severe it is. Jefferson seems fine. It sucks that Marshall's got the foot fracture. Let's see how long he's out. Burrow continued playing, so now he gets a week to just chill, which is great. So I'm good with that. Hey, someone asked, what do you think? I'm sorry, y'all. The comments are going fast, but keep them coming. We're looking. Someone asked, what do you think Joseph Evans' role could be moving forward?
7 or 8 snaps.
You got a thought?
Give some guys some win. That position is built on a rotation. I mean, it doesn't really matter how good your frontline guys. It didn't matter how good Glenn Dorsey was in 2007. They needed guys behind him that could play. I remember a young Drake Nevis on that team giving you a couple of snaps as a true freshman. I mean, guys that just had to play. I mean, Joseph Evans could be a similar type of role as that right there, as Nevis in 07. I mean, you don't have the frontline strength of a guy like Ricky Jean or Glenn Dorsey, but somebody that can just provide you a couple of snaps to take the pressure off of those big guys. I mean, Shelvin moving around like that today, flying down the field, running down the field. I mean, he needs, a series or 2 off to get right, or snaps in and out to sub in and out with somebody. So Evans, he can't be in a steady rotation, but eight snaps, that can't be too much to ask.
Do you remember when in 13 the defense really struggled a lot?
You said 2. What was it? Ego and Freak.
They had Ego and Freak. And those were both third-year guys at that point. And anytime those guys went out of the game, the defense feasted. I mean, everybody was on roller skates. And I can't help but wonder, does that happen this year? When you start playing legit teams, if, on that series where you give Lawrence and Logan a blow, who do you have that can hold the line?
Justin Thomas looks like he's turning into a guy that they want to trust and put out there. Sure.
But it's a
No
big
doubt.
difference between a guy you'd like to trust or think could and say, all right, you can take those guys out, put the next two on the field, and feel good about it. Like, I feel really good about a healthy Tyler Sheldon, Rashard Lawrence, Glenn Logan. That's why, like, when I saw that first drive of the day today when people were freaking out, Vandy went up 7-0, I'm going, oh, calm the fuck down. Like, LSU's going to score 60 in this game, and ultimately Aranda will make adjustments, and it's fine. Then also you're looking at, your top three defensive linemen out of there. So you put Chasson on the field when Divinity comes back, and then you get Lawrence and Logan and Shelvin. Like, that front line's great. My question is, what happens first drive of the second quarter, second drive of the second quarter when you want to give those guys a blow and you put in Justin Thomas and 94 Evans? Like, are you good? Like, you feeling good about that right now? Because I'm not.
No, I'm not. But, that's been the issue all season long, that you don't feel good about anybody behind those frontline guys. I mean, that's been the argument, the depth. And I never had confidence that they could develop somebody really that they trusted, just because of the recruiting on it. The guys that they missed on. The guys that, I hate to say, but some of the guys that they've had to settle for. They just don't have
You're right.
the trust to put them out there, and that's why the premium is keeping. You got to get 90 healthy, then you got to get Rashard Lawrence healthy, and I know that his
doubt.
story has really been inconsistent.
Hey,
but
that's
I know
that's why they didn't play him this week, bro.
I told you.
Despite your urging last week. my boy's like, run him out of the 24-point favorites. You want to run out fucking Rashard Lawrence on a bum ankle? Nah, dog. Hey, Stanton Dubois just asked, can we get an injury update? So, you add anything you add? I'll tell you, I texted Gordy during the game down on the sideline. He said, Justin Jefferson's fine. He stayed dressed, but they didn't put him back in the game. Ross Dellinger just tweeted about Marshall, fractured foot, out a few weeks. We'll see the extent. Burrow continued playing, so he seems fine there. And the other one that's of concern, obviously, is Divinity. I don't know about you. It looked like a knee. It looked like he grabbed his knee, but they put him. Gordy told me to put him in a walking
You know what
boot
it looked like? It looked
on
like
the sideline.
same injury that happened to Trevor Siemian the other night, where Myles Garrett kind of just fell on top of him and he awkwardly fell down on his ankle, like his ankle kind of rolled underneath him, because Divinity went straight for his ankle. Like, you can actually see in the slow motion replay of the play, one of his teammates running over there, and like you can tell he hears him screaming.
Yeah.
And he's like waving to Marucci in the sideline to hurry up and get out there, because it looked bad. And then you saw the way he left the field. He was on Bankston's shoulder, and some of the medicals, he couldn't put any pressure on it. So I don't know, man. I don't know who's a bigger hit, Marshall or Divinity.
Yeah. I just read this tweet from Cody Worsham. Joe Burrow and what he told the Vandy defender. So, the Vandy defender, when Burrow was just trying to throw it away, the kid pushed him in the back.
Right.
And Burrow went back to him. Quote, I told him he was a great player and I was honored to play against him.
Did you see after he
love
threw
that
the
guy.
fifth touchdown when he was looking at the sideline and saying, it's on 5?
Five.
Me too, dude.
I fucking love him.
I love him.
I fucking love him. You know what? I don't love him. I love him. I'm in love with him. Sorry, E-Rock. Sorry. I'm in love with him.
He's so good, man.
It's so good. Oh, it's so good. All right, what's going on in Twin Peaks, man? I'll look at some of these comments while you do Twin Peaks.
It is, let's see, they have the great happy hours all the time. Happy hour Monday through Friday, 3 to 7, 10 till close. They got $1 off bars, $2.50 signature brews, $2 chips and salsa over here. So I got you some bar food for you. Kids eat free on Saturdays and Sundays when you come in here and get an adult entree. So get over here. Great to watch the game, man. It is fantastic. Place to watch the game. On Sundays, they also have the NFL Sunday ticket. So if your team is playing and you may not be in the market to catch them, you can come over to Twin Peaks and catch every play from every game on NFL Sundays over here with the Sunday ticket. Their Facebook is tagged in this post. Like them over there, give them a follow, and stop in tonight for dinner, cold beer, and watching some of the games. What time y'all hitting the road, man?
As soon as we're done here, man. So maybe we'll do another 30
Yeah,
minutes or so, and we'll
whenever you
bounce.
want to take off.
Titus and Chase are both shitting on Miles Brennan right now. Can I just for a brief moment? Can we please keep in mind that Miles Brennan? We've had a lot of questions about LSU's first offensive line. Miles Brennan's running out there behind the second offensive line, and not only that, he's not throwing to Jefferson, Marshall, Chase. He's throwing to whoever the next three are. Like, can we at least acknowledge that if that guy had the first offensive line and the best receivers out there, wasn't just running the offense, trying to run out the clock, it might be a little bit different. Like, might be a smidge different. So cool it with that, clowns. All right.
Were you
The team just put up
surprised that
66.
they reversed
Cool it.
that targeting call? Me too.
Yes.
I mean, like,
Yeah, I was.
is the crown of his helmet
on the bottom of the face
his
mask.
chin.
Very surprised.
Yeah,
Ed
I
was
saw him
too.
getting the explanation and kind of like his eyes growing. Like, are you kidding me?
He was like, what?
Yeah.
He was like laughing. I mean, it's like at that point, I guess you can laugh because of the way the game went. But the thing with that is, remember also the whole criteria for targeting has changed this year because of the Devin White rule. So they've made targeting the standard for targeting is greater now than what it was because I mean, let's be honest, we all bitched about the Devin White thing last year, and so they were like, yeah, you're right, that wasn't malicious, so let's tweak the rule. So they have tweaked the rule this year and the standard for what is targeting, and I'm guessing that's just what they looked at. I'm like, well, it's making a football play, and I mean, I thought it was. I mean, it was helmet to the kid's face. I mean, Miles Brennan's face mask ended up here. It ended up on his nose. Like, yeah. I mean,
I thought that was a pretty simple call, man.
You know, but
that
I
was
think
surprising. That was surprising. Is there anything more embarrassing than these rules officials coming on and explaining something and then the official making the opposite call on the field? Like when they bring these field guys on, they're like, and the guy's like, yeah, this looks like this could be a targeting call, should hold up, should be LSU ball back. Guy comes down like, the play on the field has been reversed. Here, man.
But that was and that was a pick six. I mean, that was a scoring play. Anyway, let's see. I'm looking at my other notes. What I had here, going back to the beginning of the game. Talked about the fourth down stuff. The bad stuff that I had written down, we talked about a little bit at halftime. Kalijah Lipscomb in the first half had a lot of success against Derek Stingley, but Stingley did well in the second half, obviously. Reese McMath had an OPI. I think that's just kind of experience.
He's trying to get that catch, man. He saw the end zone. He wanted to make sure.
Yeah. Damian Lewis had a false start, which negated a big play. You know, the other thing, too, is you had I wrote this down in the second half. I'll probably make it home. Maybe this is minimal, but like the first offensive play of the second half was a false start by Sadiq. Yeah, after the false start. I mean, after the onside kick. So onside kick, you get the ball down inside the 5, and the first play is a false start, which moves you back. It's like the LSU scored. McMath got a touchdown the next play. So, I mean, this offense is compensating for a lot of mistakes. But I can't help but look and go, all right, man, like, against Vandy, when you put up 66, you can overcome that. But on the road in Tuscaloosa, if you get a turnover and you got the ball at the 5 and you get a false start and you're now at the 9, can you overcome that? Maybe so. But
No doubt,
I'd rather not
man.
find out. You know?
Don't want to find that out. I mean, I didn't want to find out today. The Burrow thing, I was so aggravated by that because of the Deculus. I mean, Deculus is just standing there as this guy runs by him and Burrow takes the shot. And I mean, you know, that's what it comes down to. I mean, it comes down to a Saturday in September of not protecting the guy, and your whole season goes off the rails.
You're right. I mean, I'm with you on that. I don't know what you do about it. I think you're stuck with what you just got to Sadiq and Deculus play well. You know, the other thing too, how about the kickoff after Vandy scored after the
when
long
they lined
run
up for the onside kick
by Vaughn,
and it bounced to
they
Clyde.
kicked it deep,
Bro,
and
that
then
was an
Clyde let it
athletic play
bounce.
to grab that ball. Oh.
Right. I mean, he let the thing hang around a lot. I know he had a great return, but it negates it. But that's another one of those things where, man, you look and you go. Now, I think we do have to compliment special teams overall. You blocked a punt. You scored a touchdown on a punt block. You had your punt game was great. How about the play that Phillips made on the Von Rosenberg punt that landed, looked like it was going to go in the end zone. Phillips knocked it back. He downed them at the 7-yard line. I mean, I thought overall special teams today was when special teams recovers an onside kick and advances it, blocks a punt, scores a touchdown, downs the ball inside the 10 on a beautiful play. I thought overall did really well. The one thing that was a little was the play Clyde made, where he almost let the thing bounce around.
He did.
Hey man, you
It was
you
almost
have
like he
to pick
didn't
that
know.
up.
It was like he wanted to let it settle in and you get the ball where it dies type situation.
Yeah. Let's see. Eric said, do y'all foresee Thad Moss getting targeted more? I do. They went to him. They went to him on a goal line play. He slipped out of his break.
I thought that up to this point they would have targeted him more. So I think that there will be an emphasis to get him involved, especially when SEC play comes, because, I mean, he's a pass-catching tight end for LSU. And that looks Sullivan, you've seen it over the last 2 weeks. They have made a concerted effort to get him involved. And today, it was good to see him. What was his final stat line? Just going to look. I got it right here.
Sullivan had four catches.
A little Todd Police tweet for you, a little nugget. Police.
Sullivan 348.
History was made today. Most yards passing in the first half by an LSU quarterback and against an SEC defense in the last 15 years. Joe Burrow did that today with his 357. The most by an LSU quarterback in the first half. Previous high was Josh Booty back in 2000 with 291. Western Carolina.
What game was that? Dude, that was Saban's first game as a coach. That was the opener of 2000.
9-2.
That was the first game of the Saban era.
Exactly right.
It was the first game of the Saban era. They won like 52-0.
We're back, baby. We're back.
and then Booty lost to UAB, and then they put in Rohan and they beat Tennessee.
So was the 01 opener was Tulane?
Yeah, go ahead.
01
was Tulane. First play of that season was Ali Broussard.
Yeah, LeBrandon.
Oh, you're right. It was LeBrandon. You're right. It was like 80 yards up the gut. Yep, you're right.
Oh,
you knew it was going to be a special season.
You could feel that
Fun
one.
year.
Similar to this one with the offense, I mean, things that you've seen, you just hope that injuries don't kill you today. I mean, man, I knew that LSU was on bye time, you know what I mean, with the injuries. They hadn't had that one catastrophe injury yet. Even Rashard Lawrence was missing time, but he wasn't missing significant games. And you feel like you'll have him back for Florida. But Divinity could be crucial. Terrace Marshall could be crucial. I hear you on Jefferson. I think he'll be okay. And then, the Burrow situation, you hate to have anything lingering with 9.
Yeah. Well, but again, the good news is he played the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And
no doubt.
You got an open date next week. And look, hey man, I'll go back to 07. Flynn severely sprained his ankle in 07 and missed the Middle Tennessee game so they could have him ready for the Florida game. So if it comes down to it and you absolutely have to, you can run Miles Brennan out there against Utah State. Like, I'm not telling you I think that's going to happen. I mean, obviously, Burrow finished this game. I'm gonna flip around here. The light in the that light is annoying me. It's probably annoying y'all too. Was that light annoying you or no?
But it is hitting you. It is hitting you.
All right. Well, that was hitting me. I was like, I can just move over to the other side of the table and not worry about it. Oh, crap. There we go.
Oh, good, bro.
Sorry, bro. All right, everybody hit the share. I promise I'm not drunk. Y'all are. That's why you're seeing all this dizzy camera and
Not me, it's you.
So hit the share. It's you. It's not. No, it's definitely me. It's definitely me. It's definitely you. So. All All right, let's see what else we got. Let's do y'all's comments.
Let's
Hit us
see
up
here.
with comments.
Yes,
Let's do
we're
that.
talking about special teams. We do have to give a shout out to Avery Atkins. Good looking out there on John Cunningham. Speaking of specials, Avery Atkins kickoff duties are simply amazing. That dude is a weapon, bro. Like, that is a modern day college football weapon. Just
You're right. 4 years
never
never
having
having
to defend a kickoff. I mean, what a weapon. Yep.
You good?
Jamar Chase, think he'll be National Player of the Week?
I mean, I haven't seen what everybody else in the country has done, but that's going to a 200-yard receiving day with 4 fucking touchdowns is going to be tough to
Running around out there like a young Skyler.
I mean, he was awesome, man. Is that the comp you go?
But I mean,
go
he was
Skyler?
just running away from cats, man. I think he's got some. His athleticism reminds me a little bit of Ruben Randall. The way that he can kind of like, just the way that, I mean, I will never forget watching Ruben Randall play center field for Bastrop. That's when I was like, this kid is a freak. Seeing him just the amount of ground he could cover as a center fielder in baseball. To me, Jamar Chase looks like he would be a dominant center fielder. Yeah, he's a freak athlete. He can run. He catches everything. I mean, I think he's going to be on the Moss deal again on Monday night. I mean, they CC'd him in a tweet after that first half grab. I mean, he's just got that freak athleticism. But, I mean, I think the thing that makes him different is the way he runs. I mean, he runs like a DB.
This guy said, Ryan Jackson said Joe Burrow is our Johnny Moxley.
Mox. Shit, bro. He's Lance Harbor. Mox would have had a shot with Joe Burrow on the roster.
The funny thing is, I actually got a text from Josh Ennis when Burrow's ankle, when Burrow was limping around, and it was a gif of the dad of Lance Harper's dad going, "How long?" It's like, he tore his ACL. He blew out his knee.
Don't you do this to me, Doc. Don't do this to me. Seeing a lot of comps coming on Chase for Brandon LaFell. He runs like LaFell. He does remind me when he runs like a little bit like LaFell.
LaFell's bigger, man. LaFell 6'3".
Yeah,
LaFell was taller. I don't think Chase. I don't think Chase.
Look at Bo Nix.
But I'll keep. Look at him, bro. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I played.
I got all these plus before. Everybody, just because of the gambling, the gambling odds. Everybody was saying A&M all week, and I'm like, why? Yeah.
Go the other way. Go the other way.
So, bro.
Happen. All right, let's see. Jeremy, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, so you're going to make Madison drive this whole leg home, huh?
I'd probably go half and half. So, but she was in Houston with her dad at MD Anderson on Thursday. Drove back, like with all that awful weather in Houston, they drove back. Like, took them like 10, 12 hours to get back. She left Baton Rouge at 3 o'clock in the morning on Friday to get to Nashville to set up that remote. Like, I know, right? I'm like, why wouldn't you just let me grab the complex and set it up? But
look at your boy,
bro. Roll, man. Baller. Let's see. Chuck Sanchez, Vandy was able to put a lot of pressure on Brennan. He reacted well.
Yeah.
I thought Brennan did fine, man. I'm
not worried about Brennan.
Let me see his final stats here. It's Brennan was 1 of 4 for 20 yards. He didn't get it. They didn't really get to run the offense with Brennan. They ran the offense last week with Brennan. I thought he did fine. So I'm not worried about that. If you had to put Brennan in with the starters, he's going to have a better result with better receivers and better runners and better blockers. It's just going to go. It's going to go different. Mark Bayard, Brennan has nada. By the way, it's not NOTTA. You can look it up. But anyway, Mark, I don't understand why everybody's shitting on Brennan. I really don't understand.
Because they've been looking at Burrow.
People can't understand why.
And Burrow's the best quarterback in the country, man.
Yeah.
Burrow's in the discussion. I mean, him and Tua. Oh, look at this. Oh, yeah. No. Him and Tua, to me, dude, if you can keep those two healthy and you get to that second Saturday in November, it's shown that's an NFL football game. That's the best two passing quarterbacks in college football
Yeah.
with top 5 receiving cores. Bama's got the best receivers in the game. LSU's got top 5 if healthy. I mean, and they can't guard LSU, and LSU can't guard them. It's going to be a shootout with those two. And so, I mean, I
Oh,
think
here's another good one.
Brennan gets the
No, go ahead.
unfair comparison because you've been watching 9 for a month.
Yeah, that's fair. Josh Nuccio said McMath's hit was not malicious. That's another thing to keep in mind. College football has now outlawed all
Yeah.
crackback or blind
That's an
side
easy
blocks.
call now.
You cannot block. You cannot block someone from the opposite side that's unsuspecting. So it's as passive as that, as good of a hit as that looked like. You can't do it when a defender's not looking. And so you say, what do? Like, literally, the thing you do
Let it
is
go,
you
man.
just have to be a shield. Like, you put up your hands. No, you put up your hands and you just kind of shield that. Like, that's what it's become. It's sad. I think it sucks. I mean, I'm not saying go out there and blow people up, but at the same time, if someone's trailing a play trying to make a tackle, you got to block them. You know, that's where always keep your head on a swivel, man. I mean, you got to hit that guy. I mean, that happened to Burrow last year in the bowl game.
Straight up.
You know, he got annihilated. Got to keep your head on a swivel, bro. Anyway, what about the play calling before the half where we went 3-and-out? That's from Gregory Flitter Jr.
We talked about that at halftime. Look, with this offense, it's easy to disagree with it because this offense seems like they're a play away every time. They had a 1-play scoring drive today. They had a 3-play scoring drive against Texas a couple of weeks ago. With that they went 45 yards for a score right before half in 3 plays. So I mean, look. They can strike from anywhere. They can strike from everywhere, and I understand it. But I mean, you know how head coaches are, man. The book would tell you in that situation with a lead deep in your own end zone, run the clock out, get to halftime, and get ready to play the third quarter. So,
the drive before that, they got the ball. Emory ran it 3 straight times, got a first down on 3rd and 1. He got a first down carry, got another first down. And then they went incomplete. They threw a deep ball incomplete and threw a short route that was bobbled and dropped. They had 3rd down, threw it to Stephon Sullivan for 13 yards, got the first down. Then they went to Jamar Chase. That was his 51-yard touchdown run. So, or catch and run, I should say. They put him up 38-10. My point is, even at the start of the drive before, they were running the ball. They went run, pass. It was only whenever they got some distance and started putting together a couple first downs that they put the ball in the air. So I think at that point they were committed to trying to run the ball at the end of the half. I hated it because you saw how they were going offensively. It felt like if they put the ball in the air, nobody was going to stop them. And I don't know if this team can go slow. It doesn't feel like they have that gear where they can downshift and run the clock. I don't know that they have that gear in them. So I hope they do. I'm not like today would certainly point to the contrary.
No, it definitely looks like they need to get adjusted to playing ball control, clock control offense. I mean, they
didn't do it. But they didn't do it against Texas. You know, it's just not what they're going to do.
All right, any more comments here? I want to get you guys back on the road. No, I want to get you guys
sorry,
back
I was
on the
drinking
road.
water.
I know you probably want to head back.
Yeah, well, Madison had to go drop somebody off real quick. As soon as she comes back, we're going to bounce. Casey McKenzie, what's up? Ryan Dixon, is Aranda worth the money? You want to take that one?
Yeah, look, for what he's giving you right now, it would be easy to say no, but Dave Aranda to me is still in the discussion of one of the top defensive coordinators in college football. Look, they are without personnel, and that could be his fault in recruiting. So I think you can look at that and blame there. But I mean, the fact that you can't get a pass rush without just Caleb on Chasson, I think it's inexcusable at LSU. You know, what I mean, you got to have at least 1 or 2 guys that you can put out there that can create pass rush. And like we said, though, I think that they've been playing without personnel, and I think that they will look a lot different when they're at full strength. So to answer your question, yes, I do believe that Dave Aranda is worth the money. I understand what Dave Aranda is going through from a standpoint of the fan base not getting it. I mean, like they just don't feel like that the defense is playing up to par, and for their standard they're not. I mean, they're just not. They're not deep enough to me to be able to withstand. LSU's not really LSU doesn't have a new offense. LSU's been playing catch up. I mean, everybody else in college football is running this type of offense, and I don't know if you can. The days of holding people to 6, 12, 13, 20 points is just it just doesn't exist.
All right, let me play devil's advocate. Georgia beat the team LSU beat today. Beat them 30-6.
Week 1.
No, you know what that is? That's a team with a great offensive line and 4 good running backs that decided they were just going to go run the ball. They threw it for 150 against them and ran for 300 yards. If LSU wanted to line up today and run the ball against Vanderbilt, they could. It's not what LSU does. I think LSU fans collectively, and this is my. By the way, you know what I would love to do, Jay? I would love to go back to week 1 and look at our whiskey and wine comments after LSU played Georgia Southern, a good group of 5 school who racked up a grand total of 98 yards against LSU. Let me say that again. 98 yards of total offense against LSU. And you can say, well, that's Georgia Southern. Well, this was Vanderbilt and that, whatever. The difference is you had Glenn Logan, you had Rashard Lawrence, you had Caleb on Chasson, you had Michael Divinity, you had your entire defensive front 7 in place. That matters. The biggest problem on this team is they don't have depth on their defensive line. Whenever you go from Lawrence, Logan, Shelvin, Divinity, Phillips, and that's your Chasson, and then whoever you want to put at the other outside back and call it. If it's Queen, if it's Stevens, however you want to name it, that is vastly different than when you put Neil Farrell and Justin Thomas in the ballgame, and Braden Fajoko at nose, and then Apu Laika, who's it's different. Like, you don't have depth. Your frontline guys are good. You don't have depth. You're going to have to get used to being in games like this. If you're going to play fast and every time you hit a third down, you're going to go tempo to try to convert, you're going to have to get used to scoring fast and being back on field. Brother, I'm going to tell you what. When they had – this was my first thought in the first quarter of this game. Vandy goes down and scores, right? And everyone's like, oh, shit, the defense sucks, blah, blah. LSU goes, scores. Well, LSU forces a 3 and out. LSU scores again. Now it's 14-7. LSU forces a 3 and out. And LSU had that one-play drive where they threw the 64-yarder to Jamar Chase. And I went, oh, man, defense got to go right back out there again. Like, when you're living on the field like that, it's just different, man. Like, your defense is going to be on the field more. It's going to test depth more. You're going to allow more yards, more points. Like, Vandy beat LSU today in time of possession by nearly 5 minutes. I mean, that matters. Your defense is going to be on the field longer. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think Dave Aranda sucks. I don't think LSU sucks. I just think they're playing a different style of ball that we're not used to seeing, and we just all collectively have to get used to it. Like, you're going to win more games 66 to 38 than 24 to 10. But you know what? This is way more fun. I'd rather have an offense that I know has a shot against Alabama and Tuscaloosa this year, and the one you were running before didn't. And maybe you got to win the game in Tuscaloosa 48-41 this year. And if that happens, I don't give a shit. Cool. Let's just probably win that game for a chance.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you 100%, man. I mean, like, it's Dave Aranda's group doesn't impress me.
Yes, please. Thank you.
By holding teams to under 100 yards and a certain point. I mean, like, at this point, just be able to control these spread offenses, get a couple of key stops, turnovers, like we talked about today, was the first 2 interceptions of the season, man. That's crazy to say. It's the 4th game.
I know.
They have.
They've had a few drop. They've had a few drop ones, but yeah.
And
you're
now
right.
I think you start to see those coming. They'll start coming bunches. So some takeaways and some stops. You don't have to hold teams under 10 points and all that stuff anymore. I mean, it's an offensive system now. Football is, and that's why. I mean, I cannot wait that Alabama game this year, because when you're talking about Tua versus Burrow, if those guys are right and healthy, that's an NFL game. That's Brady versus Breeze. I mean, that's Rodgers versus, Mahomes. I mean, that's as good as it gets in college football with two good receiving cores. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, I'm not overly concerned with Dave Aranda's group, and I still consider him one of the, the best in the business.
Charles, Chris Rogers, the O-line against Florida, Auburn, Bama worries me. And I agree. That for me is the single biggest concern I have with this team right now is getting everybody healthy on the D-line, and then how do you stack up against Florida, Auburn, Bama, A&M on the defensive line, because your offensive line against their defensive line, and that's a fair question. But I think a big part of that is alleviated with that Ingram coming back. Like that's not just a luxury. That's a necessity. You added a huge piece to the puzzle by getting Ed Ingram back. If he reverts to form,
which I think he will. Like I'm not willing to say he's playing freshman All-American status, but I think he is an instant upgrade to what you have. And I know that's not tough, but I mean the fact that he's been away from the game for a year and a half. I mean, stop doing anything for a year and a half and just step back into it. There's going to be an awkward period of trying to catch back up and get your feet underneath you. So, again, look, we talked about the schedule being so advantage LSU this year. This is another advantage schedule LSU to get him back, get him in the fold for a week, let him play against Utah State after the bye with some time to get out on the practice field and bang a little bit. I mean, I think Ed Ingram's a starter against Utah State, and I think he's a starting guard against Florida.
This guy named Mark was cracking on Brennan for what he did as a freshman against BYU.
That was his first game.
Like, bruh. That was his first game of his freshman year. By the way, Matt Canada was the offensive coordinator. Since then, he had to learn Matt Canada's offense. Then Ensminger. Now Ensminger and Brady. 3 years, 3 different OCs, 3 different offenses, and you're sitting here talking about what he did as a freshman against BYU. Oh, my God. God bless. Oh, Jesus. All right, bro. Tell people about Twin Peaks. I'm going to drink this water, and then we're going to hit the road.
Appreciate them for having us out here today. Rumor NFL Sunday ticket tomorrow. Happy hours all day. Next week is Lumber Girls Week over here with great specials. Yep, there you go, bro. Look at all the specials. Monday, Budweiser, Bud Lights. Tuesday, margaritas, Coronas. Wednesdays, signature brews, sirloin steak. Fridays, $5 Crown Royal. All right.
Lumber Girls.
Like and share it.
Yeah. Do they have Flying Tiger beer, by the way?
I don't know. I will.
Ask about that. Do they have canned beer or just
I don't
draft?
think they have canned beer. I haven't seen any cans. See a lot of draft.
They just have draft. Or bottles. Yeah. Ask about that, man. I met the old Rob from Flying Tiger.
Old Rob.
Good dude. Monroe Company. They got great beer. He gave me this hat. Flying Tiger hat. Nice hat. It's good beer. I bet you they do have it, dude. Twin Peaks has a bunch of drafts, don't they? They got like 50 beers. How many beers they got on tap over there?
Ton of draft beer.
Yeah, I bet you they do.
All right, bro. Y'all be safe coming home, man. That is a Gordy Rush special that you got backdoored into over there.
How about that?
Tigers
win. I'll put the games this afternoon on my phone. Your boy got a little action on Old Dominion today with the points.
That is stage 10 status right there, bro. I knew when he started taking the Old Dominion games that he had a problem, sir.
I'm telling you, I like Old Dominion and the points today. I'm going to keep an eye on that one.
I got the Citadel.
I like Citadel won last week, bro. I like Old Dominion. Wait, hang on. I'll tell you what I got working, Jay. Hang on. There's a couple of them out there. All right, I got Old Dominion plus 27. I got Miami, the Hurricanes, laying 30 and a half. I like
Yeah.
Well, look who they're playing. I like Nebraska
Okay.
minus the 13. Watch
Okay.
the Huskers.
Yeah.
Big
Big bounce back day.
spot for the Huskers today. I like the Huskers laying the 13 today. Big spot. And I like
Oh, I love
Tulsa laying the
Tulsa.
4.
Love Tulsa. I'm with you. I'm riding
Love
with you on
Tulsa laying.
Tulsa. Shotgun with you, brother.
Laying.
Yes.
Are you
Yes.
really riding
I'm
with
with
Tulsa
you.
laying the 4?
No. I'm
Or
with
are you
you. I
just
got Tulsa
bullshitting
minus
me?
the 4, and I've got Auburn plus the 4
It,
and Tulsa minus the 4.
I tell you what, you know what else your boy had last night? You know what else your boy had
USC.
last night, right?
Nice play,
Your
bro.
boy had
Nice
USC's money
play.
line last night.
Nice play.
Tell you this much. Your boy doesn't know a lot about a lot. But from time to time, your boy knows about Old Dominion.
Be safe, bro. Love you. Holler at me.
All right, everybody hit the share. If you've not done so yet, please help us build this thing. Hit the share. It's massively helpful. Go Tigers. Beat Vandy, all that stuff.
Later, bro.